Peter Thomas, Cynthia Bailey's ex who is no longer on The Real Housewives of Atlanta after their split, may be getting his own reality series. And no, before you ask, it's not going to be a fighting show. With or without knives. But we're actually pretty excited about it. Cynthia Bailey and Peter Thomas on the red carpet. Okay, so, just for a refresher. Peter Thomas was with Real Housewife Cynthia Bailey for ages. By extension, Peter became part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Honestly, he's almost certainly part of what Kenya Moore's new husband, Mark Daly, is reluctant to appear on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and why Mark says that the show's portrayal of black men is negative. Specifically, Peter Thomas' famous on-camera brawl with Matt Jordan doesn't put any demographics' best foot forward. It doesn't seem like Peter Thomas' fault, but we can see how Mark Daly would shy away from appearing on the same program. As you probably remember, because a fight like that is hard to forget, at a radio station in Charlotte, North Carolina, Matt Jordan was yelling insults at Peter Thomas before rushing him, shoving people out of the way. Video then shows Matt Jordan attacking Peter Thomas, who at one point displays that he has either grabbed or pulled out a box cutter knife. To be fair, Peter Thomas was clearly being attacked, and also resisted what must have been a powerful urge to use it as a lethal weapon. Last year, Peter Thomas ended his stint on The Real Housewives of Atlanta when he and Cynthia Bailey got divorced. But his career in reality television may not be over just yet. TMZ reports that Peter Thomas has a spin-off series in the works with Bravo. Producers tell TMZ that Peter has started filming a pilot for Bravo about him and his club, Club 1, in Charlotte. If you're getting a Vanderpump Rules vibe from this spin-off, you're not alone. Right now, it's about Peter owning and managing the club in the aftermath of his breakup from Cynthia last year. Though TMZ says that it's highly unlikely that Cynthia Bailey will ever guest star, which totally makes sense. In the works doesn't mean a done deal. Not all pilots get to grow up into a full season, but that's still exciting. But that same report says that the network likes what it is seeing, so Peter Thomas' series sounds likely to get at least one season. It's funny, because literally just yesterday I was talking to a friend about how this should be The Real Housewives of Charlotte. Actually, it started with me talking about how our mutual friend's mother would be perfect for The Real Housewives of Asheville, which is also not a show yet, but then we acknowledged that if there were to be a Real Housewives show set in North Carolina, you'd start in Charlotte or Raleigh. Charlotte is prime territory for a reality series, as it's NC's largest city and also one of the largest banking centers in the United States, which means a lot of business interests. And, by extension, a lot of potential Real Housewives. Raleigh would have more along the lines of Tech Wives, which could also totally work, just saying. Now, the possibility of Peter Thomas' show isn't quite the same as a Real Housewives spin-off, and we get that. But it's sure as hell a step in the right direction, right? They may be floating this idea to go ahead and gauge public interest. We say that it sounds interesting enough that we'd like to see how the pilot works. Peter Thomas is no stranger to reality television, and running a club can be a source of all sorts of potential drama. Let's just leave the box cutters alone as much as possible and avoid fights, though.